Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is 7 o'clock. It is a Thursday. It is a brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in. This is it for us for the week. Once again, we will not have a live show on a Friday morning. So hopefully you get all your thoughts, questions, concerns, anything you want out of the way, get it out of the way today, because today is it. And 256-576-4977, that is the number to call in. Last night, round one of the NBA draft unfolded. In case you missed the number one pick, here it is, and the commissioner will say his name.
With the first pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Zachary Rizache from Lyon, France, and France's J.L. Boron-Bress.
I mean, we had Ryan Hammer on yesterday. I thought it was Rizache, but it almost sounds like Worcestershire sauce, so, I mean, whatever. But yeah, I thought it was Rizache
in the
myself.
2024 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Zachary Rizache.
Zachary Rizache. I think I got it. Zachary Rizache. And I mean, you needed to know French yesterday anyway, because hellfire, I mean, 3 of the first 6 picks were from France.
Well, and then the second overall pick was from France as well.
Alex Sarr.
The Washington Wizards take, yeah.
Well, I mean, and Ryan Hammer told us that, you know, Alex Sarr did not want any part of the Hawks. I mean, he did not work out for Atlanta. I mean, and now that doesn't stop you from drafting a guy.
No.
But he wanted to be in Washington, so, and that's what happened there. And hey, we kind of saw the resurgence of the big man, Scott. I mean, the old school big man. We had 2 go in the top 10, which you really don't see. Number 7, Donovan Clingan, the sophomore from UConn, goes to the Portland Trail Blazers, and then 9th overall.
By the way, my son got invited to the Portland Trail Blazers draft party last night.
Did he really?
Yeah. So his roommate, his dad, does a lot of work for the Portland Trail Blazers.
Nice.
And so Landon drove up yesterday and spent the evening
just
at the Portland Trail Blazers.
Didn't have to dodge anybody in the
party.
parking lot or anything, I hope. Some weed whacker.
No, but he thought it was pretty cool. He was excited.
That's a neat thing.
And, so he said yesterday he was driving up there. He and some guy called him and said, "Hey, we are excited to have you at the draft party. If there's anything you need tonight, here's my number. Just give me a call. We'll make sure you have it and take care of you or whatever." Yeah, he was excited. He went to the Portland Trail Blazers draft party. Now, I have not talked. Obviously, it's only 5 o'clock there now.
Yeah,
I have not talked to him yet.
You didn't find out how it went.
I did not find no. Yeah. But he was excited for that one.
I mean, they were excited. I mean, I think if you were watching the coverage last night, and some of it was hard to watch, I'll just say that, but they needed Woj and Bobby Marks on the stage. But anyway, but Woj basically informed everybody that that's really who Portland wanted, was Donovan Clingan. They were hoping that he would fall to them. But they were even thinking about trading up. It didn't work out, but he fell to them at 7. And then Zach Edey, who it was such an interesting odyssey for him at Purdue. He ends up playing 4 years. He's a 2-time National Player of the Year. For part of his career, it was like, well, he came back for this past year because of NIL and because he wouldn't have been a first-round pick the year before, and he was dominant both years, got better every year, and it worked out for him because the Memphis Grizzlies had a huge need at center. They wanted Clingan, weren't able to get him, and he's sitting there at 9, and they take him in the top 10 because as we all know, the way the NBA has gone, they kind of de-emphasize centers, or they've kind of they had become
the traditional centers become extinct,
kind of obsolete. But
it
looks like it maybe at least they're starting to wise up, and it's starting to come back in vogue a little bit, because again, Klingon and Edie are old school bigs, and and you need
7
big guys. And I'll
9.
just say this: if you watch this draft, and I certainly did this first round, a huge foreign influence, and it ought to show you right now where basketball is. They're doing a better job developing players than we are in the United States right now.
The first college player taken, number 3.
Yeah.
Reed Shepherd from Kentucky.
Yeah, and
he's
he's going to be
Rockets
good.
Pick. Yeah, that was number 3. And then Stephen Castle from UConn, number 4.
Like him a lot.
But it went foreign, college. G League Ignite, Ron Holland was number 5. But
G League Ignite is now defunct. They had several drafted.
Yeah, but then you had another foreign number 6.
Yeah.
And then you had Klingon, Connecticut, number 7, and then Dillingham from Kentucky was 8, then Purdue, Colorado. But there was a lot of – it is not – unlike the NFL draft and unlike some of these other ones, this NBA draft last night was a heavily foreign influence.
Well, all I can say is this. They're all under
early on. Later in the first round, it became more college.
They're all under 19 now, but in 4 years when we have another Olympics, we're having Olympics this summer, but when we have another Olympics in 4 years, if France doesn't at least win the silver medal, they've totally sucked. I mean, they ought to be.
Well, they're hosting it this year.
I know, but I'm sorry, these guys are under 19 years old. But I'm just saying, in 4 years,
they should be really good.
They should be really good,
yeah.
and they should be the United States' biggest competition. By then, LeDum will be retired and probably be Bronny James, publicist. But still, the U.S. should be the favorite because the U.S. should always be the favorite. But
you would think.
But France should be a very, very real threat with all the talent they're putting out.
Dalton Connect from Tennessee. We talked about him yesterday. He goes number 17 to the Lakers.
Man, I couldn't believe he slipped all the way down, and then he has to ruin his life and go to the Lakers. But actually, I'll be honest with you, that was a good pick by the Lakers.
Hey, they needed a shooter.
I thought so.
They got one.
I don't like the Lakers. I can't stand LeBron James, but that was a good pick. I mean,
yeah.
I know, and of course they were saying he's slipping because of his age, because he freaks out because these NBA people are all stupid. They all want to draft somebody that's 18 years old, and then they wonder why they suck.
Look, I looked at they bring the whole draft class up there,
yeah,
and they put them all up there.
Yeah, you see how they screwed up, go.
But I'm looking at
go
half
woke,
of them.
go broke. They tried to tell you who Dalton Connect was. That wasn't Dalton Connect. Your production people screwed that up.
But I'm looking at them going, are these guys really basketball players?
Yeah.
I mean, they look like they're $1.05 soaking wet.
Oh yeah,
and
they definitely need some weight room. That's what I meant about these French guys. I think they're very talented and they're being developed properly because obviously they're going high in the draft and they're very skilled when you watch them on film. But they've got to get bigger. I mean,
I'm looking at them.
They've got to do some weight room, man.
Yeah.
But they're talented now.
No, they are.
Again, Tony Parker, supposedly most of these cats are playing for him and over there in France, back in his home country, and they're doing something right, man, because they turning out some players.
All right, 256-576-4977. Don't forget this afternoon.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Yeah. The second round's this afternoon.
3 o'clock, you can watch the second round of the NBA draft.
I don't know why you don't just do it in prime time.
Oh, it's second round. Come on.
I mean,
Anyway, there you go. See, for those that say, well, yeah, I don't ever talk about the NBA.
You get some really good players in the second round.
You can. There is some good ones out there.
I mean, Dennis Rodman, Herb Jones.
Bronny James.
The best player in the NBA went in the second round. Nikola Jokic, for God's sake. I guess he was too old and not athletic enough. He's only the best player in the league. Learn something, you dumbasses. You don't always just draft people off athleticism.
Oh, but anyway, this afternoon you can take part in the NBA second round if you so choose.
Unfortunately for Kyle Filipowski, he's taking part in it. He didn't get drafted in the first round, and I guess he was the last one left in the green room or whatever because they introduced all them guys.
Was there one left last night?
I mean, he didn't get drafted, so I mean, Celtics passed on him, drafted my man out of Creighton.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Pat from Tuscaloosa is with us. Good morning, Pat.
Morning, Pat.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, the Euro leagues over there,
They're
they
good.
teach fundamentals.
They
guys.
do. That's
And,
why Levi Randolph's wanting to go over there. I mean, the Euro League is really your best opportunity in Europe, best competition. Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I mean, has had DeBonis? I think I'm saying his name right.
Sabonis, yeah.
Yes, Sabonis. It's a dead gum shame that he's had to be in an Eastern Bloc country. Because that guy, I would have loved to have seen him at 25 years old in the league.
Oh yeah, because he by the time he got to the NBA, Arvydas years ago, he had been injured and he wasn't quite nearly as dominant, but he was still a great player. But yeah, I mean, he was a below the rim big by then, but he could really still play, and he of course played for Portland as well.
Yeah, hey, what I called about this morning is kind of looking like Alabama might be fixing to go on an epic run as far as stars falling on Alabama. That there's a song about that, stars fell on Alabama, and that my question is that can Alabama hold on, get Cunningham at wide receiver and bring in nothing runs like a deer? I mean, hey, this guy, I can see him getting big money from John Deere.
Well, I mean, a Kylan Deere is from Quitman, Mississippi, the same area as our good friend Kelly McCarty, and same high school, I think, as Antonio McDyess, Alabama basketball superstar years ago, who it really set the standard. He was picked number 2 overall in the NBA draft, was drafted by the Clippers, and thank the Lord traded to Denver. But I think there's a good chance he could flip in the near future. I don't have a exact timeline on it, Pat, but I think that everything's looking positive for that right now. I think they're going to get at least one piece on Friday. We all know that, and Dejoun Lee from the state of California, 5-star corner. I think he's going to commit on Friday. The interesting thing is, I don't think as of right now they're ready to take Josiah Sharma. I would think he's going to announce for Texas. We'll see though, but that's what I've been hearing all week. So, and we'll, but they could, yeah. There's no doubt they could pick up by the weekend they could pick up a couple more pieces. I definitely think they're picking up Dejoun, which is going to boost the recruiting ranking right now. They're trying to catch Ohio State. But then also there's news. I think Khalid Lockett is going to announce something by July 3rd. We'll see. Alabama seemed to be in strong shape for him following his official visit. He's another big-time wide receiver. Caleb Cunningham, he's now done an official top 6. He hasn't set a commitment date. What I've said this week is I think he'll commit to school of choice before his senior season. We'll see about that. And remember, they've got a Champions Cookout for Alabama coming off of the dead period, I think, at the end of July, which would be July the 28th. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's on campus for that. But there's not been a date set for Caleb Cunningham. But I think Alabama likes where they are with him. And we'll see with Meadows, wide receiver out of Las Vegas, another 5-star that Alabama's trying. And then Ty Haywood. Now, Ty Haywood, if they get another one, by the end of the weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Ty too. He hasn't set a commitment date either. But to me, the next 3 to watch are Dejoun Lee, Ty Haywood, certainly, and then Keelan Deere to flip. But certainly things are looking positive. And if all that stuff happens in the very near future, then I would think Alabama would have the number 1 class, depending on what pieces Ohio State has that could go public. But certainly Alabama and Ohio State are battling it out right now, Pat.
Yeah. Hey, are you ready to say? Because I'm my crystal ball is going to be Oxford to Alabama. That he's made 4 trips. You said 3, but I think there's a 4th trip that he's made to Tuscaloosa, from what I understand.
Are you talking about a Keelan Deere?
No. I'm talking about the Parker High School that's committed to Ohio State, because that'd be really big time in dropping Ohio State and adding to Alabama.
Well, yeah, certainly it would. Naheem Alford, he's the number one player in the state of Alabama. He's a 5-star corner from Parker High School in Birmingham. I don't know. I know he's made several trips to Tuscaloosa, at least 3 in the last few weeks. Certainly, they're continuing to chop wood there. I'm not ready to say he's going to flip, but I just think Alabama's going to keep chopping wood there. And they certainly want him. They certainly like to pair him with Dejoun Lee. But I think that may be a situation that may happen later in the season, and it would probably be almost better in that regard for Alabama if he did it later in the process. But yeah, if you flip Alford and you're taking a guy away from Ohio State and adding a 5-star to Alabama, certainly it would enhance their chances of signing the number 1 overall class. No question about it.
Yep, gotcha. Hey, have a blessed day, and y'all enjoy your weekend coming up.
Thank you, Pat. You too.
Thanks, Pat.
Yes, sir. You enjoy your weekend.
7:16 on a Thursday morning.
It is Thursday.
It is Thursday. I want to say, but anyway.
Yeah, it's hard to remember, And we got NBA draft coming on again. This afternoon. Yeah.
Can't say tonight. Don't say tonight.
It feels like the baseball draft. Remember when they used to do all that?
This out, though. They may drag it out though for a while because they're going to do.
Ain't no telling what the coverage is going to look like tonight or this afternoon for the second round, man. It may make your ears bleed.
Let's get a break in. We'll promise not to do that when we return. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show. Followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH Sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Download the Talk Radio WZZN app and catch every pitch of the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Now a launch job into deep right. Back on it goes Veras. He's at the track. He looks up and it's out of here. Joyce ready to go again. Next offering. Fastball swung and missed. That one launched deep left. Allen won't even try. He'll watch it leave the yard. Pitch is ripped. Deep center field. Back on it goes Tatum. At the track, looks up, and it's out of here. A home run.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a
Why
part.
wasn't Windhorse on there last night? I didn't even see Windhorse. Did he just need a night off?
He looks like he's been up all night again, though.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. ESPN's coverage of the draft on TV just is awful, by the way.
oh, it was
Anyway, let's go out to the phone lines. Richard is with us. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. Talking about the draft, I missed the first part of it. I guess it was a good thing the way Drew's talking about it there, but I just saw a lot of
The
Cat
French
fans
Invitational, Vive la France.
Yep. Yeah, I saw where a lot of the Cat fans, though, were kind of, I guess with Calipari not there, you have two guys that don't start for Kentucky going, I'm not sure when the other guard, when I know Shepard.
Yeah, Reed
third.
Shepard went number 3, and then you go down to Rob Dillingham.
At
He
8.
went number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those guys really came off the bench
Yeah.
for Kentucky.
Well,
They
that's
weren't
what I
even
said.
like starters.
They were harassing Cal. Last night I saw, on X, they were giving him a hard time about, you got two guys that you don't even start, and they get drafted in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way it is. They draft you on potential a lot of times, but I do like Reed Shepard a lot. I know he didn't play well in the NCAA tournament. The whole team didn't, and they lost to Oakland.
I did hear, it was one of these guys that had something to do with the Kentucky program, and they said Cal did it out of spite.
Well, that some of them would probably say that because again, it did not end well there with Calipari, but. I do like Reed a lot. He can really shoot it. He's got good size. I got a chance to watch him live like you did at the SEC tournament, and I just thought he was smooth as all get out, and I think he's going to translate really well to the NBA. I think Dillingham will be a good scorer. I don't know about guarding somebody, and he's a little bit of a smaller guard. I actually think Reed could end up being a pretty good defender too. I think he's going to be a good fit because that Houston team was 500, but they made all those. They got rid of James the Black Hole Harden, who never wins anything, and they're still reaping the benefits of that bounty that they got. When they traded him, so that's how they got Reed Shepard with how the lottery fell, and I think it'll benefit them, no doubt about it.
One thing about Shepard is he kind of has a sixth sense. I mean, he didn't show it in the NCAA tournament.
Really good passer, yeah.
Yeah, well, but just steals and things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he knows where you're throwing the ball on defense to where he gets steals by just being extremely I guess basketball smart.
Yeah, and let's not forget it took Cal a while to even offer Reed Shepard because they were trying to decide how good he was because he played at a smaller high school. I think he played at he was back home where his family grew up. So
yeah, he was somewhere in Kentucky. You're talking about the second round guy I used to play ball with over in Atlanta. Went in the 12th round when they used to have 12 rounds to the Bullets.
Yeah.
So you think the second round's bad? Just think if you went in the 12th round. I don't remember how many rounds there were back in those days, but
ton, yeah.
Yeah, so a long way down if you're going 12th there. So like I said, we had Connect go. Anybody else in the SEC go besides the two Kentucky guys in Connect last night?
That would be all that we had from the SEC last night. Those two guys from Kentucky and one from Tennessee. That was it. Just 3 players from the SEC last night. Now, on the flip side, the Big Ten, you look at it, and Zach Edey from Purdue was the first one off the board for the Big Ten. And then Khalil Ware from Indiana was number 15 in the draft. But that was it. Oh, no, my bad. Terrence Shannon Jr. from Illinois.
At the very end of the first round, yeah.
Yeah, so the Big Ten only had 3 players taken. The SEC had 3 players taken in the first round.
Actually, Ware would have played at Bama if Coach Petway didn't take the Kennesaw State job. He was going to commit to Bama.
That's a good point. I forgot about that, Richard.
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah, he changed his like a press conference. I guess Coach Petway took the job like Thursday night, and Ware was going to commit on Friday.
Yeah, and he ended up being a one and done in a lottery pick. Yeah.
Yeah, so he would have been your center last year, which you really had. Pringle was okay out, but I mean,
when he was
you
sane.
would have had a guy going in the first round. With Coach Petway left, he went to Indiana, so out. So although I guess in the long run it didn't matter because Alabama got to the Final Four. So
yeah,
it didn't matter in the long run. It just I guess short run you probably cost you 2 or 3 wins in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Richard. Thanks.
Appreciate
it. See you guys later.
There were 8 players taken last night outside of the college ranks.
Yeah, because of the
foreign or G League Unite. There were 8 of the 30 players taken foreign. We got a question from the app this morning.
Got you.
Bringing the wife to Huntsville for her birthday on Saturday.
Yeah.
Would Bad Daddy Burgers be a good choice?
I mean, I had Bad Daddy's yesterday. It was good for lunch. I had a big lunch after I.
It depends on what you want. If you want burgers.
Burgers, yeah.
Yeah, Bad Daddy's is good.
It is. And
I think we've got better, but Bad Daddy's is good.
No, it's really good. It was really good yesterday. They've added some new things to the menu for the summer, and definitely it would be a spot if your lady is a burger fan.
Yeah,
I would say no doubt about it. And a very underrated thing is the poblano frites. I didn't have them yesterday, but it's a really good appetizer. And they've added mozzarella to the appetizer menu too, which is quite interesting. I had the mozzarella burger, which was quite good.
The fried deviled eggs are pretty good too.
There you go.
At Bad Daddy's.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go out there. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning, Brandon.
Morning. Last time I was there, I think I ate at Char, and it was really good.
No. Char is a step up, a couple steps up. So we went to Grill 29.
So it's highfalutin is what Scott's saying.
Yeah, we went to Grill 29 last night.
Yeah.
And it's a little highfalutin. And let me tell you, I had a ribeye last night. My wife has the filet.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, we're coming back." She goes, "I don't mean like tomorrow or the next week." He goes, "But we're coming back," because it was just that it was very, very good last night.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, I can deal with the French people coming over and taking over the NBA because, like Gilbert Arenas said, they don't want to play defense anymore. That's why Euros are running wild. But
nobody does guard anybody. That's what I was saying when they were when Malika Andrews was talking to one of the American guys that got drafted. Hey, how are you looking forward to going against the best defenders in the world? I was like, are they motivated to actually defend? I don't know.
But this whole United States in this U20 football or whatever getting beat by Japan by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, we had that. I had that to bring
Who's
up here.
Playing in that? Like
so what it is it's the under 20 World Championships, and I don't know a lot of the kids on this roster. I don't know, but
are they even college players?
But United States lost to Japan
41-20, wasn't it?
In
Yesterday. In play.
Touchdowns.
Yeah, so obviously we're not sending our top level talent if Tokyo Drift and them are beating us.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to load up Randolph High School or Bob Jones or what we need to do, but this does not need to happen again.
I mean, I saw the final score and I was just like, wow, who in the heck was playing for the United States? I have no idea.
And those 20 points were garbage because it was 21 or 28-0 before the United States scored.
Mike Kelly is the head coach, by the way.
Who?
Don't even know that. You've got Manny Masakis is the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
And Myron Bluford is the defensive coordinator. Don't know any of those guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn the page into July here next week. So how many weeks is it now to the Friday Night Scoreboard show powered by the Huntsville Sports Commission? I said that right, didn't I?
I don't know how many weeks it is. It's last year it was the Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Scoreboard Show powered by the Huntsville Sports Commission.
There you go, Scott.
I don't know if that's what it's going to be called this week. So I know we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks away from, I believe.
Couple months.
8 weeks away from the first week of high school football here. So,
yeah. Ooh, God, it's coming fast. Better enjoy them Fridays off, gentlemen.
We are.
We are.
Roll Tide.
Oh, yes,
We're
we are.
enjoying them. Thanks, Brandon. We're enjoying them very much. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to bring it up that we lost, but I'm trying to find out like who is actually on said team.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And I can't find announces roster for under 20 team. You got Notre Dame commit Davion Dixon, uncommitted 3-star Bryce Williams. You got Rhett Armstrong, Mikey Gow, an ambidextrous quarterback, by the way.
Not amphibious.
I'm just looking at it. You got Jadon Alston, Rhett Armstrong, Marvin Brown, Jacob Cabrera, Diego Coleman, Charlie Cottrell.
I don't know who any of these people are, so that's why we need to go to break and bring Chris Lee into the conversation and actually talk college baseball.
Oh, we'll do that next, but they got beat by Japan.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Vandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show. Followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH Sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Ford is $1,750 in total cash back. And yes, we do have the Bronco Badlands Edition in stock. Need something bigger? Check out the award-winning Expedition. Perfect for families and summer vacation. It offers spacious comfort, top-notch safety features, and plus, we've got 24 Expedition financing as low as 2.9% for up to 72 months. And for all you truck lovers, we've got the 2024 F-150. America's favorite truck, delivers unmatched power and innovative features, and we've got financing as low as 3.9% for 60 months on F-150. Plus, these are the final hours of no payments for 90 days on select models, including Expedition, Bronco Sport, Explorer, and more. These offers are with your good credit, and they end July 8th. Come on in to Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
That's the price you pay. Leave behind your heart and cast
All right, welcome back. So, I don't know if this is relevant or not, but to me, it feels like it.
Yeah.
My mom called me and said, guess what? We had a garage sale last weekend, and we had a lot of items for sale, and we sold a bunch of things.
Okay.
To me, Texas A&M baseball right now is like a garage sale.
Oh.
Because the whole team basically is for sale, And in today's world, it's the NIL, and so you can go out and you can, if you need something, you can go out and get something. It's going to cost you.
Yeah.
But I looked at who is all in the transfer portal for
Who's
Texas
not,
A&M,
basically,
and basically it's who's not in the transfer portal. Pretty much everyone, even star power-wise.
Shane Sadeo, I think he stayed.
For Texas A&M, put themselves into the transfer portal less than about 24 hours after Jim Schlossnagle decides to go to Texas. You have number one overall pick in 2025, Jace Lavalette. He is in the transfer
Jace
portal.
Lavalette, and he, after saying he was going to stay and everybody needed to stay. But, again, some of these guys, Grahovac and some of them maybe just
Kadeem Kent, Max Crawford, Jake Bell, Carl Schmidt, Justin Vassos.
Yeah, they're all – but I think some of them could also be hedging their bets too, because they can go in the portal, see who the new coach is, and then they could come back, or they could decide to keep their options open and move on. So that's just the world we're in right now, and we're going to discuss that and more with our next guest. He is the editor-in-chief of VanitySports.com, been around 20 years, part of the Rivals Network. And, of course, he is the baseball guru and a huge part of Southeastern 14, soon to be Southeastern16.com, and their YouTube channel is continuing to flourish. And Chris Lee has been kind enough to join us here on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Chris, you're with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
I know I watched you guys' reaction. I certainly was stunned. I thought Schloss would stay at A&M. I thought, especially after his strong rebuttal after the national championship game, I thought it wasn't a money thing to me that A&M could match the money, the facilities. I thought he would stay even though he had the great relationship with Chris Del Conte. Obviously, he did not. And then obviously, as I said, if you followed the press conference, everybody there would have, especially Schloss, would have failed the lie detector test.
Yeah, look, I don't blame Jim Schlossnagle for leaving. And
if the money's the true, what you hear, wow, I mean, unreal.
Well, I don't even know if it was just a money thing. He and Chris Del Conte are close, and I get that. I would, all things being equal, I'd rather work for a close friend,
right,
than I would work for an athletic director that got brought in and I don't really know. So there is that.
Yeah.
And so I think let's isolate the situation from the way it was handled. There's never a bad time to there's never a good or easy way. I mean, imagine if a rival radio station called you guys and offered you double or whatever, and
we've talked about that.
Yeah, you continue working for your station until your contract is done, and if I asked you on air, Drew, hey Drew, are you thinking about moving to WPDQ or whatever? That would be an awkward situation for anybody, right?
Yeah, it would.
So I understand that, and I understand that also in this day and age, you've got to get out in front of things. But holy cow, I don't think there could be a worse way to handle it than what he did. And just say something like, hey, I'm the coach at Texas A&M. I'm here to talk about Texas A&M and what's going on here.
Yep.
And just shut. And then if the next day you take the job, nobody can hang you with your own words, right? Okay,
No.
You answer the question honestly. Everybody would understand that you're at the podium. You just lost a national title game. You don't want to blurt out to the world, hey, I'm about to go to Texas tomorrow. No, would you get grief? Yes. Would you get crucified like he did? No. But I mean, and adding, adding 10 more layers to it was the J.B. Moss accusation on Twitter, and I mean, then now we're in a whole different territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had people the day after say, well, that question shouldn't have even been asked. I mean, were you all right with the question even being asked after that point?
I was just saying I thought it should have been asking maybe a different way. But, again, what was your thoughts on how the whole thing was handled?
I think I put it the same way in a reporter's shoes. It's kind of a no-win situation. If you ask it, people are going to be like, how in the world could you ask the question under those circumstances? If you don't ask it, then it becomes how did you not ask the question? You're a reporter. It's your job. So it's kind of a no-win situation. I don't blame him for that. Now, look, I think
I think those guys knew what was going on, and maybe well ahead of time. And so you could there's a whole can of worms we could open up into the timing. I didn't really have a problem with the question being asked. It's a difficult situation either way.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, talk about the Moss accusation, the situation, for maybe those that haven't paid attention.
Yeah, J.B. Moss was a former player at Texas A&M a few years back, not too long, I think middle part of last decade.
Yeah.
And I think he's on the radio crew, and basically he is alleged, and I mean, I don't have this in front of me. Maybe I will pull up the whole tweet, or maybe one of you guys can.
Yeah.
But allegedly he said that Jim Schlossnagle was using burner phones in Omaha to recruit for Texas.
Wow.
Yeah, that was what I took away from it. That was the most alarming point.
That's some strong stuff, too.
And alleged. I don't know if it happened or not.
Alleged.
Keep myself clear here. Right.
Right, and then there's also the accusation that the Tex Ags was reporting that this was done all the way back in late April when they had a series against Georgia, that they felt like, as you were kind of intimating, Chris, that this was something that had been in the works for a while. And I'm going to ask you, the way everything came out and the way it was handled, I would have been very, very interested to see if, and I said this on the show yesterday, Scott and I were kind of spitballing about it. It almost seems as though even if A&M had won this thing, he would have left.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, it was Kendall Rogers that had the report. He said that basically the deal was done sometime right after the Georgia series. That was the last week of April. And by the way, I don't know if you guys remember this, but A&M was just steamrolling along at that point. And I thought at that point, I still had A&M as the best team in the conference.
I did, yeah. At one time, I did.
The weekend before.
Yeah, yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, and they beat Georgia 2 out of 3, and then they go and they lose 2 out of 3 to LSU, which wasn't playing well at the time. Now I maintain LSU was a better team than we knew, but like nobody saw that one coming. And then the next weekend, they go to Ole Miss and lose 2 out of 3. The Ole Miss team that finished 27-29. And the difference in offense was astonishing between the series. And really, in fact, they never hit again like they did, coming after the Georgia series. The offense was good but not great for the most part. And, I mean, that begs some questions, too. I mean, because the performance, took a backward turn for a couple of weeks. But, yeah, I mean, and, again, there's no easy way to do these things. Everybody's got to get a jump on what comes next. But my goodness, when you're getting paid by a school, you continue working for that school.
Yeah. Well, now the hard part begins for Texas A&M. You got to find somebody. You got to go get somebody. It is the SEC. Texas A&M can pay, but you got to get someone in there because you got to try to salvage a roster that right now is in very much limbo.
Yeah. I mean, the timelines with the transfer portal and all those things. You got the draft coming up. I mean, it is chaos as it is for anybody and everybody. Without a coaching change. So, yeah, I mean, they've got their hands full.
Yeah, they really do, and you would think they would need to have maybe the search done by July the 1st, which would be Monday. It's interesting, some of the candidates that have been mentioned. I know Alabama's Rob Vaughn has been mentioned by some folks because people sometimes forget, and I had to remind myself he is a Texas native. But there's others with connections to the Aggies that that would, I think, also be strong candidates. Dan Hefner at Dallas Baptist, who's never moved, but he's had a great program there. He has strong Texas ties. And, again, it should be a job that's considered in the top 5 in college baseball with their money, the $80 million renovations on the table, and they're coming off their best season in school history. Now, with the portal, there's a lot of pieces that are moving around, but still the opportunity to win is there, Chris. And Schlossnagle certainly proved in 3 years that once he replaced Rob Childress, that you can win at the highest level.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Kendall Rogers' list.
Right.
And the 5 he's got on there are guys that that have pretty deep ties to their place. You mentioned Hefner. He's been there since what?
Forever.
08 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Nick
long time.
Mingione, you've heard about him talk about Kentucky wanting that job. He's in a great situation. Like, he could be at Kentucky a long time, and you know, the success could fall off from where he is, and he'd be safe for a while. That's not going to be the case at A&M. Rob Vaughn's the wild card. You know, that he just took the Alabama job a year ago. Link Jarrett, don't think he's leaving Florida State. He played there. Brian O'Connor's been at Virginia for, 20-something years. Don't know why he would leave that spot. So it's going to be very interesting to see who they'll target.
Tennessee does ultimately win the national championship. Now Tony Vitello has the national championship to go along with everything else that he has. Ultimately, what does it mean for him in Tennessee?
Well, I mean, I think right now they've probably established themselves as the premier program in college baseball. It's not just winning the national title, but, I mean, they were the 1 seed. They won the SEC. They won the SEC tournament. You know, they had the team 2 years ago that might have been better than this one, but couldn't get out of a super regional. In between, they had a down year. They went, 14-16 in the SEC, but got to Omaha. 2021 got to Omaha. Didn't win any games, but got there. I mean, I don't think anybody's – I can't imagine anybody's won more games over the last 4 years, and really 5 if you go back to COVID, because they were playing well in 2020 before everything got canceled. So, yeah, I mean, you know, he's got a better building on the way. You know, they've killed it in the transfer portal. They're killing it in recruiting. Right now, they're the team to beat.
They are, and I couldn't see him going to Texas, and I don't see him going to A&M. Tennessee's going to make sure he stays, and unlike Schlossnagle, who probably would have left A&M anyway, once Tony V finished the mission, I did not see him moving on from the Vols, Chris.
Yeah, I thought that if Texas had targeted him, that there were some reasons that he could have gone.
Right.
Some which I won't get into, but you know, it's certainly a better program. Historically speaking, you know, a lot of better things right off the bat. But it's kind of like, well, this is working where you are. You know, the ground that you're roaming every day, and I think there's a lot sometimes to why change what's working.
Well, there is, and I know you know the Vandy program better than anyone. We you know had when we were delving into the Texas search, no doubt about it. We earlier in the week we were wondering how many $2 million per year coaches there are, and if you believe the numbers, Texas is about to blow it out of the water with Schlossnagle, what they're going to pay him and his coaching staff. But you know, Vanderbilt has always, they're a private school, they don't release their info, but it's always been strongly thought they were taking care of Tim Corbin. I know you told us earlier in the year that that Corbin might consider, because of the changing climate and some frustrations, maybe even retiring or whatnot. But I would think he's still locked in with Vanderbilt. Would you think that's the case?
Yeah, he is. I mean, look, Tim is an interesting guy, and I don't say this disrespectfully because I really like him, but
yeah,
he thinks differently. Like, I think this might shock people, but I think one of the jobs he came the closest to leaving for in the last few years was Army. Because it's a place where you can just coach baseball and, you know, and kids go to class and you don't have to deal with all this other stuff. I mean, you know, Oregon was one, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago when they relaunched their program that really tempted him because it was a chance to start stuff from scratch. He's motivated by different things than a lot of coaches. But, you know, and I don't think that he liked the way that college sports is being built. He liked being able to tell kids, hey, come here for a couple of years, do your thing, and you'll get a shot to compete for a starting role or a key bullpen role or a starting position or something like that when, you know, the All-American in front of you leaves for the draft in a year or two. And he always, I think, pretty much held to his word. But now it's a case where you can't give those kids a chance. You have to flip your roster at every turn or you get left in the dust. I think that explains a lot of why they had fallen off in recent years. And I think you'll see him respond with a really, really good portal class when all's said and done.
And he's made some coaching changes as well, correct?
Yeah, and I think, honestly, the minute that he got rid of Mike Baxter, that's the minute I knew, okay, he's serious about competing in this environment, because he recruited Mike Baxter to Vanderbilt. He transferred from Columbia, 21, 22 years ago, was a part of some of his first teams, was a part of that first regional team that he had back in 2004, was on the team, I believe, in 2005, the only time he's missed the tournament since 2004. And those guys on that staff, they're like family.
Yeah.
And to get rid of a guy that had been his hitting coach and recruiting coordinator for 7 years, who'd played for him, the minute he did that, I'm like, all right, he's serious, because I thought that he might step down before he'd make a move there. And look, I think the move was justified, and I really like Mike Baxter. Just a high-quality individual. Liked him when he was there, and I covered him, like him now. But he wasn't getting the job done anywhere. You point the finger. If it's talent, well, he's a recruiting coordinator. If they're not being coached well as hitters, well, he's the hitting coach. And to be fair to Mike Baxter, he'd never been a hitting coach or recruiting coordinator before he came to Vanderbilt. They nabbed him straight out of pro ball. He just retired, from a career as like a fourth or fifth outfielder. And so probably in hindsight wasn't the best move they could have made. But at the time, Tim Corbin, everything he touched turned to gold, and they won a national title with Mike Baxter. But that's a lot of ways to say that, I was – the minute that he moved on from Mike, I thought, okay, he's probably going to do anything and everything legally in his power to win, because I know that had to cut him to the core to let him go.
Well, great stuff. We always hear it from Chris Lee, VandySports.com, and, of course, Southeastern14.com. Y'all's your YouTube channel is blowing up. I was watching your reaction to this Texas A&M situation, and very soon going to be Southeastern 16.
Yeah, as soon as I can rearrange the pennants on my wall, probably will be.
Well, we appreciate it, man. Have a great weekend. Thanks you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
All right, let's get a break in. Wrap up hour one next.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandyman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
NBA draft second round will be done by 6 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
So that ESPN can get to the NHL awards
There
at
is an
6
NHL.
o'clock.
There is, okay. I got a message. I thought they were talking about the draft, so there actually is an NHL award.
There's NHL awards at 6 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And then at 7 o'clock, you get some preview of some UFC 303.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they are literally squeezing in the second round of the NBA draft in the afternoon to get to everything and the rest of the day. So that's why they are having it. We also got another message on our app this morning.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why is that our gentleman is bringing his wife to the comedy show.
Oh.
And he said, well, where else could they go? I forgot about Jack Brown's Burger or Beer and Burger downtown.
I did too.
If you've not been there, it is worth it. It is good.
I haven't been to Jack Brown's.
Jack Brown's is phenomenal. Of course, you got Sam and Greg's down on the square as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you want pizza and gelato, homemade gelato, which is really good as well. But really, you could go to Jack Brown's, get yourself a burger, and if you like draft beer, they got plenty of it down there as well. But then you can walk across the square and get some gelato from Sam and Greg's and make a night of it, and then go to the comedy club.
Oh, okay.
I would go to Jack Brown's over Bad Daddy's.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go to Jeff from the Borough real fast. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good,
Jeff.
Did you I watched the late local news last night. Did you hear about Tennessee had a parade yesterday? Did y'all hear what happened?
They drank a lot of beer and showed a trophy.
No, Scott. They
did drink some beer, though.
Well,
I hadn't heard.
You know they're going to do that.
What
I'm
happened?
saying is, it was so hot. 30 people had heat stroke and heat exhaustion.
Oh, wow.
And they sent six of them to the hospital.
Lord.
So I believe next time we have a parade when it's 100 degrees out, I believe they have some common sense and have it inside, don't you? I believe it's inside time. I believe it's time to go inside of the arena and have it inside. Let's not burn up.
Let's at least have some water stations or something. Good grief.
Of course, I know Scholar Roast for George Strait over 200 degrees. He'll out there listen to George Strait. I know that. No matter what the temperature is, he'll listen to George Strait all night long. I'll tell you that right now. It don't matter. But see, I'm not going to parade when it's 95 to 105 heat. I'm gonna put it inside. But Tennessee has no common sense because they don't know because they don't win enough championships. They've won 2 men's championships.
So if Kentucky had won the baseball championship, they would not have had a parade yesterday. They would have had it in Rupp Arena.
They probably would have. Yeah, probably yes. I hope they would have. I hope they had some common sense and put it inside. Yes, and not have people heat exhaustion, send people to the hospital. Yes, I hope they would have. And if they didn't, I'd call them out if they didn't. Yes. You don't do it when it's 105 heat in it. I mean, you're going to have it in Las Vegas, 110.
Well, the official high yesterday in Knoxville was 93 degrees.
Yeah, but I'm sure the heat index.
No, you're right. The heat index would have been about 99 to 100.
99, yeah. So you just don't. I mean, you just have. It's called common sense. Like I said, they've won 2 men's titles, 98 football, and this one. We know what happened with football. We know how that turned out. 10 years later, they fire their coach, and the guy writes a book. He's from Knoxville, Decade of Dysfunction. So we know how that worked out. Let's see what Vitello does, or everybody calls him Tony Balls. Because I had a friend of mine, one time he's in the media, he told me, he said, because I live in Tennessee, you're required to be with the Tennessee Vols and the Tennessee Titans. He said, I'm required to. It's like state law. I've got to be for them. That's what he told me. I said, I told him to blow. The only player that I rooted for on Tennessee's baseball team was Drew Bean.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for we're up against
good,
the break.
Good stuff, Jeff. I mean, you make some valid points about the Heat.
He's a little salty though because Tennessee won the whole thing.
I didn't like it, but I picked them. You got to tell the truth. They're the best team in America.
Oh, we'll be back. Hour number 2 next.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandyman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. stations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Yep, 256-881-5151. You can experience the SportsMed difference. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives. They are our number 2 sponsor here of this segment. They are the official training providers of the Rocket City Trash Pandas and the UAH Chargers. So if they're good enough for them, they're good enough for you as well. We have talked a lot about Jim Schlossnagel's move from Texas A&M to Texas.
Huge move.
And it's coming out that, he physically drove his car from Austin to Texas A&M there, and waited outside a cemetery.
You're talking about Chris Del Conte.
Chris Del Conte did.
Yeah,
waited outside a cemetery for Jim Schlossnagel to come back home so that he could physically pick him up and drive him back to Austin. This was a big thing.
Well, earlier in the week, I was pinch hitting on the drive, and we talked to Chris Plank, and he had not heard the news yet. He's, of course, part of the Sooners radio network. And when I told him our next guest had, broken this story and put the info out about Jim Schlossnagle, he said, well, if Chip Brown has put this out, then it's 110% lock. And Chip Brown is, when it comes to inside info and knowing the Longhorns, there's no one better. He works for Longhorns 247. Does a great job at Horns 247, actually, I should say. He's on 1 to 3 Central Time weekdays with Zay Collier on the Texas Sports Unfiltered app, and he's taking the time to join us this morning. It's always great to catch up with Chip Brown, especially with the Longhorns officially joining this league and having a celebration coming up on Monday. But the Horns made the biggest move of the offseason in college baseball, bringing Jim Schlossnagle to the 40 acres, and it's Chip Brown. Chip Brown, good morning, sir. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Drew, Scott, how are you doing? How's that? I need to get the name of that orthopedic place that you were talking about. I need some work on my back.
Hey, I don't blame you, man. I'm hurting sometimes myself.
They'll help you.
Yes.
I'm sure they will. And I am sure Texas fans right now are in a very giving mood as well.
Well, the A&M people need some work on their backs.
Yes, they do.
They were a little bit blindsided, Chip. This was a huge move. We kind of compared it. I've been on other shows, compared it if Alabama and Auburn, if this ever happened, especially in football. But college baseball is a huge deal at Texas. I said this. I think Texas and LSU right now are the two best jobs in college baseball when it comes to resources, money, the passion of the fans. Certainly Texas knows they're making the move to the SEC, and I thought, relatively that David Pierce did a good job, but obviously Chris Del Conte thought that Texas needed a shot in the arm going into this league.
Yeah, I think, David Pierce, he went to Omaha 3 times in 7 completed seasons, was maybe a better set of outfield lights at Stanford away from going to Omaha a 4th time a year ago.
Yeah.
But he had made some changes on his coaching staff each of the last 3 years, and it wasn't getting better. He demoted Sean Allen, his longtime assistant. He had an opportunity, Chris Del Conte said, we'll write a check, we'll get whatever pitching coach. They had Frank Anderson, listening, and then Frank Anderson, who's at Tennessee, was like, I get full autonomy over the pitching, right? And David Pierce was like, I don't know. So Anderson's like, well, I'm good. And so Pierce ended up hiring Woody Williams, a 15-year major league pitcher who'd gotten into coaching, and then fired Woody Williams after 1 year and said, I'm going to take over the pitching. and then the pitching went south. It was the worst ERA since 1999. Their number one starter, LeBaron Johnson, who was expected to be the Big 12 Player of the Year, regressed, and Pierce was kind of pressing and taking some stuff out on players, and so it was going in the wrong direction heading into the SEC, and so Chris Del Conte, made the move, and everybody, I mean, it's the worst kept secret that Del Conte and Schlossnagle are boys. I mean, in 2016, when the Texas job came open, when Augie Garrido stepped down, Chris Del Conte hustled, got Schlossnagle a contract extension and raise at TCU, and then tweeted out a picture of the two of them looking like schoolgirls. and that's when Texas ended up hiring David Pierce. And so flash forward, Del Conte takes the Texas job, Schlossnagle's at A&M. The unthinkable happens, where it's time to fill the Texas job, and oh gosh, Jim Schlossnagle's at A&M, right as you pointed out, as Texas is getting set to join the SEC. This is why A&M didn't want Texas in the SEC,
right?
Because they've got a brand, they've got alignment, and that is so big. People ask me all the time, what happened to Texas football for 15 years? And I say, terrible alignment in leadership at the university.
Yes.
And, they went through presidents. They went through athletic directors. Steve Patterson happened. He was like the worst athletic director in the history of college sports. And so they lost their way. And we've seen it. You've seen it.
Yes.
A dozen times, in the last 20 years in college athletics. If you don't have alignment, you don't have the momentum that you need to attract great coaches, to build the kind of Directors Cup momentum that Texas has right now. And I tell Texas fans all the time, you better thank your lucky stars that you have this alignment right now, because it's rare and you're in a good run, and you need to hope it holds together as long as possible.
Was this a hire that, I mean, you could sit there, I mean, this obviously was the number one choice for Del Conte. I mean, was this it? I mean, this was the choice to align not only Del Conte, the baseball program, but anybody outside NIL-wise, booster-wise, or whatever, to get this program all on the same page?
Yeah, I mean, the boosters don't meddle unless they think the leadership is screwing up. And Del Conte's killing it. I mean, everyone's like, oh, my gosh, when was the last time a sitting in-state, a sitting coach left to go to an in-state rival? And it was Chris Del Conte hiring Chris Beard from Texas Tech to go to Texas. And gosh, when Beard went back to Lubbock for the first time, it was anarchy. I mean, people were putting they're putting their hands on the team bus. The police had to be called to help the team get out of their bus to get into the practice facility. I mean, it was insane. And of course, it's probably I don't think it'll be that hostile. Texas Tech fans have a unique ability to kind of, take it over the line. But, Schlossnagle was asked about going back to A&M. He kind of broke some news yesterday when he said that the first series, as SEC mates will happen in Austin in 25, and then, they'll go to College Station in 26. I don't know how he knows that, or, Del Conte called Sankey or something, but it's Del Conte is fearless, and that's, yes, Schlossnagle was his first choice. I mean, the interesting thing is if Schloss had said no, Tony Vitello was an assistant coach at TCU under Schloss when Del Conte was the athletic director at TCU. So, I mean, we had as our hot board Schloss, Tony Vitello, and Eric Bakich at Clemson, and he got Schloss.
Well, and Chip, I'll say this, and you would know better than anyone. I said earlier in the show, the way just kind of delving into what you've reported and others, even if A&M had won the national championship, it seems with this relationship with Del Conte, that was the real key that I think Sloss still would have left. I think the only way he's not at Texas is if Del Conte is not the AD. Am I right there? Is that an assumption that can be made?
Yes. I mean, I think there's no doubt. I mean, everything I'd heard was confirmed yesterday by what Schlossnagle said about the alignment. You know, when he was at A&M, he was hired by Ross Bjork, who left to go to Ohio State in January. Schloss was on the search committee for the new athletic director. He favored Mike Buddy, the athletic director at Army, who is a baseball guy, played for the Yankees, pitched for the Yankees, pitched for the Brewers. He was even the pitching coach for Augie Garrido in the movie For Love of the Game. Schloss was all about Mike Buddy. Well, A&M hires Trev Alberts. And then in April, Alberts cuts, a dozen athletic department staffers in a cost-cutting move, two of whom, were close with Schlossnagle, two deputy ADs. And so I think, he was sensing that, okay, this is, they're said they're going to build the new stadium and everything, and he had it going. There's no question. But I think his comfort at this time of uncertainty in college athletics, where we're going into rev share with student athletes and starting in 2025, he wanted to finish out his career with a guy he knows that he has a direct line to and feels like that alignment. He's gonna be heard, and Schloss is a big ego. We know that. He certainly mishandled his press conference Monday night, but he's also really good at what he does. And Del Conte sees that A's hire A's, B's hire C's, and Del Conte goes after A's.
He certainly does.
It is hard to believe that we are 4 days away now. This is 4 days away from Texas officially becoming a member of the Southeastern Conference.
Oh yeah, Pitbull's playing on campus Sunday night.
Is he really?
Oh yeah, Greg Sankey's going to be there. I can't wait to see Sankey getting down to Fireball. It's going to be great.
So there really is. So there really is a party to celebrate coming into the conference.
Oh yeah, fireworks. It's going to be bonkers. I think Sankey's going to Oklahoma in the afternoon, and then he finishes in Austin at night. And I think Pitbull's playing at like 8 o'clock. Fireworks. It's going to be nuts though.
That is crazy.
And now we know Sloss is bringing his whole coaching staff with him to Texas. The portal's open. How active is – Schlossnagle was a portal master at A&M. I know he's already got some guys that he had committed to follow him to the Aggies that are, it looks like, coming to Austin.
Yeah, I was told when I broke the story on Tuesday that he's bringing his best players with him. And then, boom, there's Jace Lavioletta in the portal, and Kovac, and there are 11 guys in the portal. Caden Kent. And some of them have do not contact tags, meaning they already know where they're going, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see those guys end up in Austin.
That'll make it even spicier.
Wow. What is the relationship between Texas and Texas A&M? For those, because we tried relating it here.
It's got to be like Alabama. Auburn.
That's what we tried to relate people here. That this would be like a football coach from Alabama going to Auburn, a head coach, or going vice versa. What's that relationship like there between Texas and Texas A&M?
Well, I don't know of any other rivalry where they talk about each other in their fight songs. The fight songs were written 100+ years ago. They talk about each other in their fight songs. And, the bonfire tradition at A&M was to, commemorate Texas Week. the Hex Rally at Texas. The bonfire started in like 1907.
Yeah.
The Hex Rally started at Texas for, they'd lost like 7 games in a row to A&M, so they started this Hex Rally in 1941. I mean, it's political because, whoever's in charge in the governor's office or the lieutenant governor's office, if it's like Rick Perry is the longest tenured governor in the history of the state of Texas. It was an Aggie yell leader, and he made life hell for Texas when he was, the governor. He was appointing people to the Regents Board to get the president of University of Texas thrown out. I mean, it's insane. And the chancellor at A&M right now, John Sharp, this is the all-timer. This is Aggie on Aggie crime. But John Sharp, so when Perry was running for the White House, he basically told Sharp, who he had run against for lieutenant governor back in '98, he said, look, I'm going to make you chancellor, and if I don't win the White House, I'll come back and be president of Texas A&M. Well, Sharp is like, hey, man, I lost. He didn't say this, but he lost to Perry. It was the biggest loss of his political career. He ended up blackballing Rick Perry from A&M, got rid of all the people there who were loyal to him. He runs that place with an iron fist. And I think, they've had a kind of revolving door at president there. And that's that alignment that we're talking about. I mean, they've had 5 presidents since 2015. That's crazy. And it's, I'm told it's because Sharp is so involved. He's so heavy-handed that, if you're winning like Jim Schlossnagle, it doesn't matter. But Jimbo Fisher, John Sharp made sure there was $76.7 million to get rid of him, and then that little quirk that they had where it looked like it was going to be Mark Stoops for a minute at A&M, and then it was Mike Elko. I'm told Sharp kind of read the tea leaves and got the Regents Board to step in. So it's, A&M is, I love their tradition. I love that game day atmosphere at Kyle Field is insane. But the alignment of leadership right now is a little off, I think.
Wow.
And that explains it.
That's interesting.
That explains definitely the Schlossnagle to Texas situation, and nobody will know better than Chip Brown. And my final question for you, I think it also shows their alignment because Steve Sarkisian, we know the ties he had to Saban and to Alabama, but he and his wife very happy in Austin, and that was nipped in the bud quick when I know Greg Byrne was delving into his list of coaches to replace Nick Saban. But with everything aligned, Steve Sarkisian perfectly happy in Austin.
Yeah, and I was at SEC meetings in Destin, and I walk up, and there's Sarkisian talking to Jimmy Sexton, and they're laughing it up and having a great time. And, I mean, if you're Jimmy Sexton, you had Nick Saban, you had Steve Sarkisian. I think he has Kalen DeBoer now, too.
He does.
And, it was perfect timing for Steve Sarkisian because he's coming off the Big 12 championship, the college football playoff, and then boom, Nick Saban retires, and it's contract extension time for Steve Sarkisian. He goes from $5.8 million to $10.3 million, and he has not made a sideways step since that 5-7 season in 2021. He's got it going. I mean, he's on top of it from a recruiting standpoint. Offensive players want to play for him. They're Fisher jumping in the boat. He's got maybe the best quarterback room, maybe the best running back room. He's got all these, talented receivers. They've got to get their chemistry with Quinn Ewers, but from an offensive standpoint, the talent is just racing to Austin, and that's a great thing if you're Steve Sarkisian and Longhorn Nation.
Yeah,
no
well, we're less than almost 2 weeks away from SEC Media Days in Dallas, where Texas most likely will be picked either number 2 right behind Georgia going into their first year in the SEC. Not a bad spot.
How's everyone feeling about that?
Don't like the drive.
Dallas.
I mean, it's going to be
don't like
an
the drive.
experience.
Yeah, I don't want the 10-hour drive, but looking forward to the experience.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Texas hospitality. I've hadn't been to the Fort Worth area since I covered Alabama, Wisconsin back in my first year in this business in 2015. So looking forward to being back in the Lone Star State, and I'm sure it's going to be a show. And I hope we get to see you down there, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there, so I'll look forward to seeing y'all.
Thanks, Chris. Chip. Or thank you, Chip. Excuse me.
Got it.
Thank you.
All right.
Chip Brown, best in the business.
Let's
Orange
get
247.
let's get a break in. We got more Talking Ball when we return.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area. A heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond.
That was good stuff from Chip Brown.
No,
we knew it would be.
I was, you hear a lot about this.
It's some
football
insight
rivalry.
into A&M too, with all that the politics.
You hear a lot. Well, Texas won't play Texas A&M. Texas
Right.
A&M won't play Texas in football, And, they're only going to meet now because they're in the conference and they have to face each other. And it's like, Texas A&M doesn't want Texas in the league. And Texas I'm just curious, and I was just curious as to the relationship between the two schools. And it is very deep. I mean, it is not just a rivalry. I mean, this is for all intents purposes. I mean, it was insane. It's crazy to figure out how deep it goes. I mean, politics, like we're talking runs for governor and the president and everything, having to behind the scenes stuff with Texas and Texas A&M. It's just crazy. It's mind blowing.
Well, there's a lot of politics that goes on, and as you can see, there's no love lost between the Aggies and the Longhorns. It is like Alabama and Auburn.
Would it be worse? Do you think it's worse than Alabama? And Auburn?
They don't make fun of each other in their fight songs, really.
Right,
but
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but we do have Rammer Jammer with Alabama. But they do that with everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just wondering though. I mean, I wonder if it's the Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Rivalry, not just football.
Look,
I'm
man,
talking about.
I still remember.
In a whole, I think it is worse on a deeper level than what Alabama and Auburn is.
Well, I'll just say it's as intense because here's the thing. We were at SEC Media Days when Brent Zverneman broke that and Sankey let the cat out of the bag that they were adding Oklahoma and Texas. And I remember being around all the Aggie folks that were there covering it, especially Tex Ags. And let's just say they were extremely pissed off.
Huge.
I mean, it was – and I'm talking about, very colorful language. They were really pissed off.
I mean, you can see steam come out of their ears.
They thought they had been promised that Texas would never come to the SEC. They didn't want to play them anymore. They wanted to hold it over their heads that we're in this league and you're not.
Yes.
And now Texas is in the conference and stolen their baseball coach.
256-576-4977. That's the number you can join the program.
I can't wait. I mean, in November, look, we were talking about schedules yesterday, and they're playing last game of the season. It's going to be Texas and Texas A&M.
They are.
November the 30th. It's going to be spicy. I mean, no doubt about that. It's going to be.
Well, and their recruiting base for football
and it's going to be at Kyle Field.
Their recruiting base for football
has
to be the same blueprint. So now you're not competing Big 12 SEC. You're competing in conference to get the same recruits.
Well, you are. And again, but see, that's what pissed A&M off because they could say we're in the SEC and Texas is in the Big 12. Now they can't say that.
Right.
And now with, Dirtneck falling on his face, they tried to buy a team. They tried to buy a recruiting class that looked superhuman. But Dirtneck, who they thought was going to take them to the promised land, they were sold a bill of goods. And if you look at A&M's history in football, that's happened a lot. Now, I have said this, though. People might be underestimating Mike Elko because the last sustained success A&M has had was under R.C. Slocum.
Yes.
And he had, he came in under difficult circumstances when Jackie Sherrill was shown the door. So I'm just saying, it might not be a bad thing that they get Mike Elko, who did – when Dirtneck had the most success, he had Mike Elko on his staff. So this might work.
Mike Elko better than you think. Mike Elko, it'll be baptism under fire.
Yeah.
Because right out of the gates, it's Notre Dame and then McNeese. So those are your first two games.
I don't know who to root for there. I guess I would root for A&M, but I can't stand Notre Dame.
I know. Then you get Florida, Bowling Green, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi State, LSU, South Carolina, New Mexico State, Auburn, Texas. That's your schedule for Mike Elko in year one. I would expect Mike Elko and Texas A&M to be picked probably 9th or 10th in the SEC this year. I mean, it's not bad, though. I'm just saying I would put them at 9 or 10 in the league.
You could. I think they'll be better than that, though. I kind of, in a sneaky way, I think they're going to be because they're still talented. They lost some guys to the portal.
Right.
And now I'm not saying they're going to make the college football playoff, but I don't know about 10th. I mean, and I know it's 16 teams now, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they finished in the top 8. So I will say that.
Between 7, 8, 9.
And now our brother Ray, I call him Brother Ray Sibley. He's posting on X and then tagging us. He said, "Doesn't this whole Texas versus Texas A&M situation feel like 90s vintage SEC action? Texas stole their coach, and now they are taking their best players in a power move coming into the conference." Here's the thing, though. I have said this on the record that I thought a lot of the players, most of them, especially the ones that put on the A&M uniform, I know they went in the portal, but I know they're also waiting to see who's hired. I did say I didn't think a lot of them would follow Sloss, if any. The interesting part that Chip said is he thinks it could happen. Now, I was hearing Lavalette might end up at LSU, but and I thought maybe they were, because look, we know Sloss allegedly didn't tell them. They just all saw it on Twitter and everything that he was leaving. And that they might be irritated, like, hey, the coach just went out the door on us.
Right.
But now maybe if one or two of them follow, and the guys from the portal that they had already committed from other schools, I can see them going to Texas. But I would have thought that the majority of them wouldn't be, following Sloss to Texas from A&M. But we also heard from Chris Lee this morning about burner phones and recruiting.
I saw that report. That
guys
is
to
crazy.
Texas. Maybe they will. I'll be a little surprised because of the spiciness of this rivalry. But if it does happen, say a Laviolette goes to Texas or Grahovac or these guys, man, is that going to make it even spicier? And it's already going to be, as far as series in college baseball, whether it's in College Station or in Austin, it's already going to probably be the most anticipated. But if several of these Aggies
end up in Texas uniforms,
you probably are going to need extra security, even though it's not as big an impact as far as college basketball or even especially college football, where there's 100,000 fans or 20,000 fans, or there's more media attention on it. It'd still be extremely a heated situation. So that's going to be very interesting to watch.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, Nate Oates sat down with Mark Gottfried on a podcast, and they talked about Alabama being a football school.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting comments coming up next.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
No, and not so. I am venturing in. I am in way over my head. By the way, for the next 3 days.
Right. Oh, yeah. This is the marathon you're
I am
undergoing.
playing in my.
You better stay hydrated. Speaking of, you don't want to fall out with a heat stroke.
I've
or
never
something Jeff
done
from
this
the Borough
before,
was talking about.
But thanks to our good friend Pete Sands over at Cherokee Ridge.
That's right.
I am playing in my first member guest golf tournament.
Are they at least going to give you a haircut?
I don't know, but I could get one there at Handshake. But anyway, it all starts tomorrow. I have got a practice round tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Oh, so you're going to already be on the golf course
I
at
have
9
got
a.m.
a par 3 thing at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Uh-oh.
And then on Saturday morning, I've got to play 3 9-hole events Saturday.
He's got to play 27 holes.
Then turn around and play 3 more on Sunday.
He's playing 54 holes there, Bandy Man.
I don't know how to do this.
In 2 days.
I don't know how to do this. Plus a practice round tomorrow.
Yeah, 4 rounds. He's playing an entire weekend.
I play in scrambles.
Yeah.
And I play an 18 here and there.
Eat a ton and lots of Band-Aids. Your hands are going to be crushed.
This is like
I didn't even think about the hands part.
The guy that I am playing with has been texting me all week. Hey, would you like to go play some more practice rounds? Like he texted me yesterday and he was like, hey, do you want to meet up and hit some more? Do you want to meet? I'm like, hold on here.
Save it for the weekend. Save it for Friday.
I don't have that many shots in me.
Uh-oh.
We better hold off on this because I don't have a lot in the bag.
We're on camera, but it's not. You can't see it. But during the break, sometimes Scott takes a second to be able to unfurl here.
These chairs are the most uncomfortable chairs to sit in.
I can't imagine what you're going to look like after 54 holes.
The good news is there's breakfast in the morning, but I'm going to have to load up on food though. This is going to be a marathon. Yeah. So I will be at Cherokee Ridge Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my weekend. But thanks to Pete Sands and Cherokee Ridge for inviting me out there. I've never played in a member guest. This is the first time I've done this. It is going to be fun. But anyway, you can head over to wzzn.halfoffdeal.com, and you can still get a half-off deal for Cherokee Ridge, by the way, if you want to go out there and play. I thought this was kind of interesting. Mark Gottfried, former Alabama basketball coach, has a podcast out now.
Yes, he does.
And he sat down with current Alabama head basketball coach Nate Oates.
He did.
And this was, to me, this was the most interesting. It may not be, but to me, this was the most interesting portion of the whole conversation.
5 head football coaches in 11 years. It's amazing. 5 guys. They rolled through 5 head coaches. But anyway, I got real frustrated, Nate, because I know Alabama, they love football, and they always will, and it's kind of it's part of the fabric of the state, Alabama, Auburn football. But basketball is big too, and you've done a great job, Bruce, obviously there. When I was the head coach, Cliff Ellis was there, and he was just rolling. But how have you kind of taken the enormity of football in that state and maybe used it to your advantage, or how have you kind of adapted to that? Because it is different. It's just different. It's the way of life, and you and I, as much as we love basketball, we may never change it. Doesn't mean it's not a great job like you've done, but it's definitely different. So how have you dealt with that?
You know what? It's actually a really good question, because when I got here initially, people really tried to use it against us in recruiting to football school. And you know what it is? Like, I like to say it's not would be kind of absurd. Like, I remember we had a staff meeting once when early in my years, and one of the guys on staff kind of brought up, well, football's able to do. I was like, yeah, you know what? We're only 18 national championships behind them. They're going to be able to do some stuff. we got some catch up to do here, fellas. So, but I tried to spin it in a way, like, first off, if you understand, and you do, because you've been in college athletics your whole life, if you understand how college athletics works, and people are starting to see it in a big way right now with all the money, like the settlement you just talked, the biggest money maker in college athletics right now is football. It's not even close. Okay, we are in my opinion, we've got the best football program over the history of college football in the country. It brings in a lot of money. The money is used in the entire athletic department, including men's basketball. So I've sold to these guys, like, we've got the resources here to win at the highest level. So if you understand college athletics, it's actually a positive to be at a football school, because some of these schools that are not football schools are going to struggle financially moving forward with what's going on. And this was even when I've been here 5 years. 5 years ago, I tried to make this point to some of these recruits, like, you're going to have better facilities. We're going to travel better. The nutrition's better. Like, just go down the list of everything that's going to be better, because we got better resources for you here.
See, that's a great point, because that's the way you have to me, honest with you, especially if you're at Alabama, you have to view it like you use football as a weapon. Like, okay, they're going to bring in money. They're going to give us the resources to win. There's no reason we can't win at the highest level. And if you do, you're going to get publicity. I mean, look, Scott, we've never talked more Alabama basketball in the last several months than we've done now. We're still talking about it. We've actually on this show focused more on the transfer portal and the building of the basketball roster than football in a lot of ways under Kalen DeBoer, because they went to the Final Four. They were able to get Cliff Amore, who is one of the best portal transfers out there. And then they get LeBaron Philon. They put together a roster that looks like one of the top 3 in all of college basketball. And of course, the other 2 schools, UConn and Kansas, they're basketball schools.
Right.
But they still don't have the resources that Alabama does overall as an athletic. Look, think about it. Dan Hurley turned down the Lakers, and we're glad of it because he stayed in college basketball. But what was one of the reasons people said he might go to the Lakers? Well,
money.
Because of money, and football doesn't bring in the at UConn what it does in an SEC school, because their football program is basically got kicked out of the American Athletic Conference because they weren't doing well enough. A lot of people, their football program, while it was doing decent at one time, I know they've got Jim Mora Jr., they're trying to get it back, but their football program had fallen on hard times, and it was considered an albatross in some of these conferences.
I thought it was funny that Mark Godfrey brought that up, because Mark Godfrey sounded still today like he was a little salty about the balance between football and basketball at Alabama.
It's what Chip Brown talked about for the Texas Longhorns for 15 years with their football program. When you're misaligned, and a lot of times during Godfrey's run, and because he got there in the late 90s, Alabama football was misaligned.
That's what he was talking about. 5 head coaches while he was there.
5 head coaches, and they weren't doing well. And he became the first $1 million basketball coach in Alabama history, and in many ways he became the face of Alabama athletics because the basketball program was doing well, and he went to 5 straight NCAA tournaments and things of that nature, went to an Elite 8. But still, football was king, and once Nick Saban came in there, took some of the shine off the basketball program. But I just wonder if Mark Godfrey wishes he had handled that differently. Because if he had, I think he could have stayed at Alabama for a long time.
All right, let's go to Steeler Mike real fast. Good morning, sir.
Congrats on the championship.
Morning. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. I've been out of town. I didn't know. I guess you brought it up. So you guys are aware that Tennessee won the national championship.
I picked them to win it.
Yeah.
I mean, jeez.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that on Tuesday.
Now Jeff is very bitter about it.
He was really salty.
Yeah, he was salty about it.
Yeah, he's salty today about having a parade. I get it was warm, but he was salty about the parade too.
Yeah, look, they were the best team in the country. They won 60 games. You got to tell the truth. I thought they were going to win it. They won it.
And we're 2 days away from the Pirates in Atlanta.
There it is. You're going to see the Pirates.
All right.
I'm going down to see him.
Is Paul Skeens, is he scheduled to pitch while you're there?
That'd be
This
neat.
is unbelievable. So my buddy down there, he's a physical therapist, my best friend from kindergarten, and he got tickets. We're 2 rows behind the Braves dugout, and I'll be decked out in my Stargell stuff.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, they're gonna love me. But I'll have my Biden and DeArmond sign ready to go. So you guys tune in. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mike. Oh boy,
dude! If we got a picture of that, if that is legit and that makes TV, that is unbelievable. Biden DeArmond in 2024.
Good grief. Puke in the floor. Oh, me.
Oh, a little B&D for you.
Yeah. Let it be Biden and Crawdad. Crawdad met him. He had a good time with him. Had the honor of going to the White House, which is a big honor.
It is a big.
I mean, got to shake his hand.
Yep.
I would have watched it personally, but
we've got to get a break in. Oh, your tomorrow's headlines wraps us up next.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
With home or auto from Progressive, and buy more happiness, or something close to it. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Some college housekeeping notes that we just kind of glossed over because really they're not that important, but they are just something that you will notice. Unlimited college football coaching staffs will be for 2024. Now guys can your analysts can now actually coach
and practice and games.
Coach and practice in games.
Yep.
Whereas before, a lot of them only just had a headset on. They didn't have a mouth. They didn't have a way to talk, but they could listen to everything. They couldn't talk or they couldn't do anything. But now they can coach. They can do stuff.
So dumb. They should have already been coaching. Probably were, and I don't give a damn if they were. Whatever.
They probably already were.
They were. It's a crock of bull. Just like this Bronny James garbage on the TV. Guy can't play dead in a B-Western. He's not an NBA player.
It is a question of the morning.
He should be going to Israel.
Should the Lakers draft Bronny James?
He should be, because I think our guy Levi Randolph was in Israel the last 2 years. He's trying to go to the Euro League, sounds like. Hope he gets there.
JJ Kaplan, I think, is over there as well.
Bronny needs to go to Israel and play in that league. His dad can get him a nice apartment.
If you play overseas, the team buys you the apartment. They don't
Whatever.
He wouldn't have to.
I mean, but Bronny can donate some money to him, and LeBron can, his dad, and then they can,
he could just
buy him a starting spot.
He could just invent a team. He could buy a team over there and just put his son
I don't
on
know.
It.
You would think. Jeez.
So you are not going to spend time this afternoon watching round
I mean,
two?
I probably will. I mean, I'll probably try to catch some of it at least. And see where Flip goes, Filipowski here.
The poor man that was in the green room.
You
all
know his
by
girlfriend
himself
went to
last
James
night.
Clemens.
Really?
Yes.
She was there. Wow. I did not know
I
that.
believe then she went to LSU, but, social media and all.
Oh.
That's how they hooked up.
Still getting over Japan kicking our.
Oh, my goodness. But, you were looking at the roster. Who are those people?
41-20 was the final.
I don't know. And like Vandy said, I mean, Brazil got beat 110-0.
By Canada.
I mean, come on. And that's not even hockey. They have the Canadian Football League, though. So,
Texas, you know what? I am surprised Jeff from the Borough, because he was a little salty about the parade.
He was salty about the parade.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up the Learfield Directors Cup.
What
because
happened?
the final numbers were, because after the baseball, it was all done.
Right.
Texas wins the Learfield Cup, followed by Stanford, Tennessee, Florida, Virginia,
Chip
A&M.
Brown, you heard he was kind of referencing that. There was kind of an underlying thing. He was saying, to get them aligned so they can.
Alabama
compete in every
finishes
sport.
9th, by the way, in the Learfield Cup.
Not bad.
They are, let's see here, Tennessee was the highest SEC, followed by Florida, then Texas A&M, then Alabama, and then UCLA, Notre Dame, Florida State, LSU, USC. So there you go.
Well, you need to start hydrating, Scott. You're going to play a lot of golf.
I am going to play a lot of golf. I got to go at 2:30 today. I got to go hit some balls at the range over at Hampton Cove.
There you go.
Wanted me to go hit yesterday, but I could not do it.
The 2:30 it's still going to be hot as hell during that time too.
I know, but
not quite the heat of the day, but
Still though, this is a lot.
It is.
This is a lot for me.
Is this the most golf you've ever played in a weekend?
In a stretch? Oh gosh, yes. Oh,
Wow.
This ain't even close. Ain't even close. Usually 18 holes, I'm just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
No, not even beginning.
This would have been a great documentary for our guy John Abraham to shoot.
No.
To follow you around.
Not for 3
He would have needed to be hydrated too, though, man. If you're going to have to sit there and, 54 holes.
To play a practice round tomorrow, and then turn around and play in some par 3 thing tomorrow afternoon, then
But
turn
he's
around
been out there
and
to
play
Cherokee
3
Ridge,
9
though.
holes on Saturday.
They could take care of him. He'd
And-
definitely get a haircut, and then they could, he could take some breaks and eat.
Pete did say they have good wings out there, so maybe
Yeah.
I'll have to partake. Maybe I'll have to get some of the wings.
Yeah, you have to let me know, man, how good the wings are.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to have a lot of something, but Pete's like, well, he goes, he's like, well, this will be fun. You'll have fun. I'm like, sure. I'm thinking it's gonna be a day. It's gonna be maybe a day and a half.
And then you find out you're playing 54 holes.
I realize I'm gonna be playing 3 days.
Oh my goodness, playing an entire weekend. Hey, good luck to you, man.
Not ready for it. Have fun on your basketball journeys.
Yeah, we're going to Lake Point tomorrow with Huntsville High. Going to play some high-level competition. They just got done with their kids camp, which was highly successful. Vanderbilt now an offer for Simon Walker, so he continues to rake in some honors there. We're very excited about that, and we'll continue. We look forward to being back with you on Monday.
Yes, Bill Penny. Is it Bill Penny? Yeah, it's
it'll
the
be on
first.
Monday.
Bill Penny Toyota. We'll let you know
July
how
the
the
1st.
weekend goes.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always